Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I am going to tell you guys all about how I was a teen mom. I say was because I'm not a teenager anymore. I'm 26 now, so this was about 10 years ago, which makes me feel so old. I had a baby at 16, and that baby is now turning 10 on Monday, the 8th of June, and that baby is my oldest son, Evan, and I cannot believe it's already been an entire decade of being a mom. Like, that's wild to me. Like, I don't know where the last 10 years have gone. It's like, I swear it's like he was just like a baby. Like, this crazy, like, wild, like, toddler. And now he's like this Lego obsessed 10-year-old who I have beat all of the hard levels in Mario Odyssey for me. It's crazy. But yeah, so I got pregnant when I was 15. So September of 2009. I found out in October, and I was terrified. I remember I didn't tell like my parents or anything. Like, I asked my cousin, who I see as like a mom, I asked her to like get me a pregnancy test. Like, she was a teen mom, so I felt like it was easier to go to her. Plus, I've always been like close to her, so talking to her about things was always easier. So I asked her, and she bought me the pregnancy test. I took like 7 tests. Like, the first one I took was like defective, like it didn't say negative or positive, it said nothing. So I took more, and they were positive and everything, and it was crazy. I was kind of in denial for a long time. Like, I didn't want to believe that like I was pregnant, because I was only 15, you know, like I was a kid still. So it was really scary. I remember going to school and not being able to like concentrate like on my classes. I ended up like sloughing a bunch of classes because like I couldn't concentrate. I was like just really like nervous. I didn't want to be at school, but I didn't want to be at home. I didn't want to tell my parents or anybody. When I did finally have to tell my dad, because I told him first, I was not at home. I was staying with Evan's bio dad at his house, and I texted my dad and I said, I have to tell you something. And then I said, I'm pregnant. And that was probably like the most terrifying thing I've ever had to do in like my entire life. Like, I was still scared to tell my parents that when I got pregnant with Ellie and Jude, even though I was an adult, when I got pregnant with both of them, I was still so scared to tell them I was pregnant. And yeah, it was not fun. I remember like when I got home, my dad made me tell my mom, and then I told my mom, and then she cried. And then like my sister overheard, and then she was crying, and then like nobody told my brother for a while. And then my cousin, like her daughter, who was like young, I think she was like 8 or 9, I don't know, she was really young still, she accidentally told my brother. And I guess like he ran from their house like back to our house, which wasn't like too far, but like he ran home and like was crying and was like upset because about 7 months before I found out that I was pregnant, my brother had had a baby at, he was either 16 or 17. I think he was 17. So he was like really upset. I feel like a lot of people in my life were like really upset because like I had a lot of like goals and stuff that I wanted to reach in my life. Like, I always wanted to go to college. I wanted to do something in the medical field, like a doctor or a nurse or something. And then kind of like everything stopped, and I was pregnant, and it was like, what are we gonna do? So after like all of my family knew, I made the choice to pull myself out of public school and I chose to do online schooling at home to protect myself from bullying and just kind of to like protect my mental health. I knew that there was no way I could go to school and feel safe while being pregnant. So I chose to go ahead and homeschool myself. So I did. I suffered with a ton of depression because I was completely isolated. A lot of my friends stopped being friends with me because who wants to be friends with the pregnant teenager? Um, my guy friends stuck around and everything, and I was so thankful for that. Like, we didn't hang out like all the time, you know, but they would text me, or my best friend Cameron would come over. Like, he took me out to the movies, and he even offered to take me to prom, but I said no because I was like 8 months pregnant by the time like prom came around and everything, and I didn't want to ruin his like junior prom, I think it was. So I said no. But I was alone pretty much my entire pregnancy. In January, I found out that I was having a boy, and I was super excited. Like, I thought I wanted a girl, but I knew like deep down I wanted a boy. And when they said boy, I was like super excited. And I had 2 names picked out for Evan. It was either Seth or Evan. And if you've seen Superbad, then that's where I got the names from. The 2 main characters, their names are Seth and Evan. I picked Evan, and I think it's a way more fitting name for him. But going to doctor's appointments was really weird because I always went alone or with my sister. She was kind of like my person, like during my pregnancy. Like, she went to my birthing classes with me and like as many doctor's appointments as she could, and everything. So she was like my person. She came to all my doctor's appointments, but it was still really weird because I was like a teenager, you know, sitting in the waiting room with all of these like adult women, and then there's me who was, you know, pregnant. Obviously, I looked like a child because I was. I mean, I still kind of do, and I'm 26, but so I always felt, you know, awkward and uncomfortable having to sit in the waiting room. I knew people were like staring at me and judging me, and like that was really hard. There was a time like during my pregnancy where I did consider adoption because I was terrified. I was like, I can't be a parent. I'm 16. Well, I was 15, but 16 when he was born. So I wanted to do the right thing. And in my mind, I was like, he could go to a better family, you know, like adult parents who have jobs, you know, maybe one of them would be a doctor or something, you know, like he could have had, you know, like 2 parents instead of like 1. But ultimately, I knew that like I needed him, so I kept him, and I am so glad that I did, because I don't think I would have finished high school. I don't think I would have went to college, and I don't think my life would be like where it is right now if I would have placed him for adoption. I don't think I would have accomplished as much because he was my driving force to do better and be better, because I had this tiny human who needed me to be better. So I ended up making the choice, obviously, to keep him, and he was born 6 weeks and 2 days after I had turned 16. He was born June 8th at 3:28 p.m. after 18 hours of labor and a terrifying emergency C-section later. He was there. Big kid. He was 8 pounds, 9 ounces, 21 and a half inches long. My sister and me swear to God, he was like this big when he was born. He looked huge, like so huge. We had kind of like a rough stay in the hospital, but we got to go home, and adjusting to having a baby was weird. You know, I had no idea what I was doing. Dressing a newborn is like hard and kind of scary. Like I was so afraid I was going to break him by like dressing him, so I was really nervous about that. Putting him in his car seat and in the car and doing a lot of things was like kind of nerve-wracking because like they're so tiny and fragile. So it was really weird especially coming home from the hospital because of like my C-section and everything. He spent a lot of time in the nursery because I needed to heal after everything that happened. I'll do like a whole different video on that because it is an entire thing in itself. The first year of his life was like kind of really hard, like mentally, because his bio dad was constantly like back and forth on whether or not he wanted to be a dad or, you know, an immature person and everything. And I had his parents threaten me to take me to court over custody of Evan, which was completely stupid. Like it was just a whole thing, and that went on for an entire year. And then the last time that Evan's bio dad seen him was on his first birthday, and we've had pretty much no contact since then, all on him, not me. I tried, and I was just like, I'm done trying, like not gonna force something that isn't going to be. I didn't receive like child support or anything. Like my parents helped out a lot with like watching Evan and helping buy diapers and formula and everything because I didn't have a job. I tried really, really hard to get a job like when I was pregnant and everything, but a lot of places didn't want to hire me because I was pregnant, and a lot of places you have to be like 16. So I didn't work, and then I did online schooling and everything. So my parents helped out with all of that, and then by Evan's first birthday I had finished high school and I finished my CNA course, and I started working as a CNA and was able to pay for everything, and it was kind of just me and him until he turned 4, and then that's when I met Chip and everything. Being a teen mom was like one of the hardest things I have ever done, but I wouldn't change anything about it. I am so thankful to have Evan in my life, and I honestly don't know where I would be in life if it wasn't for him. That's pretty much my story on being a teen mom. There is a lot more that goes into it, but it is like really personal, so I'm not going to put all of that out on the internet. But that's pretty much like most of it and everything. So yeah, I plan on making another video about Evan's birth because that was something else, and it's kind of like a long-ish story, so that's going to be like separate from like my experience and kind of like story of being a teen mom. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. It should be posted a couple days after this one. Yeah, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and subscribe. And see you guys next time. Bye.